Our financial experts are here to weigh in on this quote-unquote incredible news. Brandon Arnold is the executive vice president of the National Taxpayers Union, and Jeffrey Degner is an economist at the American Institute for Economic Research. Good morning, gents. Happy Friday.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So drivers and airlines facing unprecedented pressures right now. Drivers to be able to fill their tank and pay the rent, well, it's a huge challenge. And airlines, how to keep customers despite rising fuel costs, surcharges, and disruptions with flight availability. Well, President Trump saying this.
The gas will go down. As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it. It's all over the place, sitting all over the oceans of the world. And it'll go down.
You know, Brandon, I always appreciate the president's optimism. However, there is also a reality that the current average working class American is facing on a day-to-day basis. What's your assessment?
Yeah, I mean, prices will come down when the war ends. Hopefully that'll happen extremely soon, because certainly it's taking a major toll on the economy in addition to, the foreign policy challenges that we're facing here. But prices aren't going to come down immediately. As soon as the war ends, it's going to take a while to bring production back to where it was before the conflict started, and to clear up some of the logistical logjam that's taken place, certainly in the Strait of Hormuz. So it's going to be a slog here to get back where we were. I think there are signs of optimism, certainly in the job market here, but prices across the board aren't going to come back down where we need them to be until we resolve this war and sift out some of the remaining issues that we have here.
Yeah, Jeffrey, in terms of where we are right now with the economy, it's very disparate aspects of it. We have the gas prices going up as a result of the war, but then we have these jobs numbers, which are truly incredible, the best we've seen in nearly 60 years. So how do we make sense of all of the data that's coming at us right now?
Well, I think if you're one of the beneficiaries from a strong job market, the key is to hang on to your job because, as you said, households are really feeling the pinch, especially as we come into the springtime and travel season. I think we can expect to see a dent put in tourism travel, both domestically and certainly internationally, with the cost of jet fuel. But petrochemicals broadly have a longer run aspect to them. One thing that I've been tracking is the rising cost of products like sulfur and urea, which play a huge role in agriculture, as well as the refining of critical minerals. And the more costly that these activities become, we tend to see those prices hit grocery store shelves a few months down the road. So I think that there's an underlying possibility of some lingering price inflation because of those factors that do stem from the conflict. And I'm in full agreement. The faster this thing can come to an end, the better off we'll all be.
You know, Brandon, before we move on, I have to ask you this question because I want to dig a little bit deeper. There's a lot of great news coming out in terms of unemployment, GDP numbers, but I tend to look beyond the surface, dig a little deeper. And when I looked at it, I saw a deceleration in consumer spending. That's a flashing yellow light. And another flashing yellow light is an uptick in government spending, which actually ultimately comes back on the taxpayer. So what did you see when you actually dug deeper and went beyond the headlines?
Yeah, I think that's a great point to flag here. Some of the acceleration in government spending in particular is a result of the Q4 government shutdown that we had. And that actually paused some of the government spending, pushed it into Q1. As a result of that, we're seeing this increase in government spending, which is pushing GDP up. Big concern, I think, that you flagged there is consumer spending. Consumer spending makes up more than 2/3 of our economy. It's critically important for a healthy economy to have strong consumer spending, something that has weathered the storm since the pandemic much better than most economists predicted. But if we do see a decrease in consumer spending, which of course could be affected by inflation, the war in Iran, gas prices increasing, that could hit the brakes on the economy, slow things down. So there's some good data in here. There's also some concerning data, and hopefully, that optimism that we're seeing from the president is well warranted as we reach a conclusion of the war and a healthier economy going forward.
Jeffrey, we did see this week the United Arab Emirates leaving OPEC. What's the fallout?
Well, I think that the UAE's move is something like what we saw from Saudi Arabia back in the 90s, where market demand continued to increase. And while other OPEC members were looking to tighten supply, the Saudis back in the 90s said, we're going to meet market demand. And this really looks like an important move by the UAE to try and meet market demand. So I think that's something that can bring a little less price pressure in markets for oil and petrochemicals, but time will tell as far as what the UAE is able to deliver to the market.
Brandon, do you see this as a precursor to maybe other nations, Gulf nations, if you will, actually exiting OPEC? And just in general, is it a good thing? Because each country can actually make their own independent decisions instead of being part of the intergovernmental cartel.
Absolutely. I think it's a great thing because you have this cartel, as you described it accurately, holding up prices when countries want to participate in the global economy more on a market-based tone. Then I think that's a very good thing. And OPEC's not what it was, 30 years ago, largely because the United States is producing far more oil than we have previously. We're far and away the number one producer of oil. So our OPEC's influence has diminished. And hopefully, yes, this is the start of a trend. Venezuela, an OPEC member, certainly comes to mind as somebody that could leave the cartel going forward here. The more countries that do it, I think the more we move to a real market in oil.
If I were to summarize what both of you said, it would mean drill, baby, drill. Thanks so much, Jeffrey and Brandon. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.